Hello everyone, welcome back to another leftover episode. This video is going to be a part 2 of the previous video of my leftover kimchi. From that last video, I have some leftover chili paste that we made for the kimchi. Now I left this in the fridge for just overnight. Nothing has happened to it. It looks still as gorgeous as it did yesterday. Oh, let me just flip that. There we are. It looks still as good. It hasn't started fermenting the other vegetable yet, just because I put it straight into the fridge, so it should last. Now, for this video, I'm thinking of making kimchi cucumber, which these aren't leftovers, they're still fairly fresh, but I thought I would mess around with the cucumbers. I'm gonna just say sorry, Dad, in advance, because I did steal these fresh. I know you just bought these, but I thought why not? Let's not waste the kimchi paste, and it'd be a great idea. So the video before this, I found old rice flour. It's a month or two before it becomes out of date, so I thought of using it instead of wasting it. There are so many things at the back of your dry cupboards that you weren't even aware that you bought, and it's such a good idea to not waste them and use them in a dish that you would normally love to make anyway. And it's always good to make sure that you use up food that you bought a long time ago. You know, the rule is first in, first out. Okay, let's crack on. So today's recipe is fairly straightforward. We're using the previous video kimchi paste. So I've got 2 cucumbers here. You can use as many as you like. I think for this recipe you can actually stretch it to 3 cucumbers, but I only had 2 today. So to start off with, obviously get rid of the wrapper. I'm struggling here. But the aim of the game is to remove as much of the water content out of the cucumber. Now, prepping the cucumber is really down to you. I've left it as quite coarse, rustic looking chunks of cucumber. But one thing I will suggest is to always remember to remove the core. My grandmother always taught me to remove the core because of the high water content, which spoils your ferment or your pickling quicker because of the high water content it contains. It's also likely to be the most bitter part of the cucumber, but maybe that's just a preference thing. Now, there are wonderful examples of pickled cucumbers and cornichons that leave the core in, so it's a matter of preference. But I will say this, my botched job of decoring a cucumber clearly needs a schooling. There are so many examples of perfectly decoring a cucumber. This is one method. I think I prefer the knife method, which I'm going to show you next. I think my grandmother is definitely going to have a comment or two about that cucumber. Look how sorry it looks. But I will say this, whatever technique you use to decore your cucumber, please do one thing, do not waste the core. The whole purpose behind these episodes is to ensure that we do not waste any food ingredients. So the cucumber cores can be used in a cocktail, in a light refreshment with some water, lemon and lime, or into your salad. But however you use it, please do not waste this. Okay, moving on to the next step. Now, we're going to begin brining our cucumber, but before that, it's time to cut it down to a size that you prefer. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're anything like me, it's going to be simple and easy and rustic. So I've gone for a kind of an inch or so bite. It can be smaller, but I do prefer my cucumbers to be retaining the crunch. So I've left it a little bit bigger for that reason. Let's talk about brine. Now today we're just going to be using coarse salt. You of course can use rock salt or any mixture of salt and sugar like we did in the previous video. Now today it's going to be quite straightforward really. The goal is to draw as maximum amount of water out of the cucumber as possible. Cucumber retains a lot of water. I've been talking about it non-stop throughout this video, but what we want to do is make it super porous. When we do mix it with the kimchi paste, it would absorb all the flavor. The goal is for the cucumber to be super flexible but not brittle, and it should look kind of supple and soft as well at the same time. Now we're going to be mixing it with the rest of the kimchi paste that we did not use in the previous video. I am a big fan of making sure that every ounce of this paste is going to be scraped into the kimchi. So please do use the cucumber to scrape it down. What we don't want to do is waste it, but also a lot of our effort and time has gone into this, so please do not waste the mix. This is something that my grandmother used to do when I stood beside her when she was cooking, was to always scrape things down with food, and it's so nostalgic. So I'm just gonna continue that with my children in the future. Now thoroughly mix this with your hands. As you can tell, I'm a very hands-on person. I love playing with my food, so you will find most of my video content using my hands, mixing with my hands, getting a feel for the food with my hands. Don't worry, of course, I have washed it before the video. Okay, you should be left with something gorgeous like this. Now, put it into a Tupperware box, or maybe if you have a fermenting jar or some sort of fermenting equipment, you can do so. The one thing I will say about cucumber kimchi, it's already ready. You do not need to leave it to sit for that long or to ferment as long as the cabbage kimchi. Now with something like this, I would probably leave it for a day or two just so the flavor profile can develop and become more sophisticated. But other than that, you can enjoy it straight away because the cucumber is amazing at absorbing all the flavor in its surrounding. One thing I will say is, as the same technique with the cabbage kimchi, flatten it down, try to keep all the vegetables submerged so it doesn't go off. Enjoy. Okay, so this is day 2 of the kimchi sitting in the fridge, and you can already tell it's perfect and ready to eat. So definitely enjoy this. It's worth waiting so that the flavor develops. This is our leftover cucumber kimchi. Now I used the leftover chili paste from the kimchi we made in the previous video. Now I did make these side by side because I just wanted to know how it would work out. I didn't know if the kimchi paste was going to be good consistency, so I didn't want to throw it away, but I did wanted to try it with the cucumber. Now if I remember last time when I tried it first, I was really worried because it was going to be really salty. I didn't really rinse out the salt as much. However, with this one, I think you need a little bit more salt because the cucumber's a bit bland, but we'll give it a try now. Now, these are the green onions. They're still crunchy. Oh, they give a, they're delicious. Here's the leftover cucumber kimchi. It looks really strange because it's very floppy and very like non-supportive of itself. It doesn't really hold its shape, but it looks so delicious. Just judging by the taste of the spring onions that I just had, it's gonna be delicious. This definitely needed more salt compared to the previous kimchi. The cucumber is much more bland and therefore and also more watery, so you definitely need to draw that water out. It could do with a pinch of sugar. I hope you guys are enjoying the leftover kimchi episodes. Feel free to check out the next video where we might be making leftover dumplings. I'm gonna love you and leave you.